Hello, I am Todd Woodlee, Vice President for Financial Literacy at NSLP and the Institute for Personal Financial Management. We are here today at East Carolina University where we have assembled the most foremost minds in financial literacy education. The purpose of the meeting today is to develop intuitive and innovative programs to help students thrive financially throughout their lives. We thought you might have an interest in learning more about what was said and what was taught throughout this process, and we would like to share that with you. To learn more about the Institute for Personal Financial Management, please visit our website at theipfm.org. That is theipfm.org.
The state of financial literacy is lacking. The current economic situation of our country is a prime example of how we're lacking in the knowledge and the skills to make wise financial decisions.
A lot of people realize they don't know anything about personal finances. The problem is most of them don't know what they can do about it.
It can be vastly improved without a significant amount of effort. We need to educate our citizens about their financial lives and how it interacts and how they can improve it so that they can make smarter financial decisions and become better, more productive citizens.
You know, having a financially literate society is good at multiple levels. It's good for the country as a whole, it's good for our economy, but it's also good for the individuals. You know, the rising tide lifts all ships is more than just a bromide, it's really true. So if we are personally financially successful, it doesn't mean we're millionaires, but it means we're achieving our goals in a successful and sustainable way, then our family is thriving, our community is thriving, our country is thriving.
The burden for instructing young adults is on the backs of us all. Parents bear some of the burden, educators bear some of the burden, our politicians bear some of the burden, and students bear some of the burden. It's the responsibility of us all to increase the financial literacy of our young adults.
The biggest financial mistake I made was I purchased a brand new car my first year in college.
Got married 6 days after my 18th birthday. My husband and I bought a house, a new car, and a house full of furniture, all on credit, because people convinced us that we could handle that amount of debt. And if I had it to do over again, I would never do it that way.
I bought all new furniture, and there was a big sign that said 0 interest, 0 payments for 2 years, and I went crazy. I bought everything I could think of. And I didn't have payments for 2 years, so I completely forgot about my debt, much like a lot of students do taking out student loans. And 2 years later, I got a call from a collection company saying that I missed a payment on this furniture. And I learned what capitalized interest was. So all the interest accrued for those 2 years was now tacked on to that loan balance, and I owed a lot more money and my payments weren't manageable.
My personal philosophy that I'm always preaching is evaluating needs versus wants. I think today, with a very consumer-driven society, we're so focused on all the things that we want and how we can get there, but we should really be focusing on kind of what are the needs, what are the basic necessities that we have, and making sure we're fulfilling those.
Don't spend more than you take in. And when you're dealing with debt, be very conservative. There's never been somebody who goes bankrupt by being as conservative as possible. And so I would advise, don't stretch beyond what you're very confident that you can afford to deal with later.
I would say that it's important that they don't succumb to peer pressure. I mean, peer pressure comes in a variety of ways, and financially, that can be a reason you make bad decisions. We refer to it as kind of keeping up with the campus Joneses. You feel like you have to get the designer purse or the bling or whatever it is, what your other students that maybe have the ability to pay for those types of things. And so I think it's important to just live within your means.
Debt takes away your choices. And whenever I make a decision or when I'm explaining something to a student, I just think of it from that perspective. Debt takes away your choices. We love choices, which means we want to keep our debt as low as possible.
I think the impact that a program could have across the country is if they could educate others about the need and then personally educate them. also support those who are trying to reach out to more populations and recognize folks who are doing a good job so that the best practices can be promoted.
I think it's important for students to understand how financial institutions make money and how interest works and how they can use interest to their advantage, savings, for example, for future investments or for retirement. I think that's important for them to understand that really the time value of money is one of the most important principles for them to understand.
I worry that we will forget. You know, we as a society do have the ability to willfully forget mistakes from the past. And I would hate to have the horrible recession we've just gone through not be the kind of thing that not only instills the importance of financial literacy in this generation, but in generations to come.
The biggest concern that I have is really what we've just gone through recently in this country, and that is the financial housing crisis. That had there been proper financial literacy education in this country, I think a lot of people would have avoided the mistakes that they made, and they wouldn't have gotten into situations that they financially could not get out of. And that to me is the biggest concern, is it allows us to be taken advantage of by other people in a legal way, but is not in our best interests.
I think having been in financial aid for nearly 20 years, what worries me the most is if we are not putting responsible borrowers out there into the world repaying their loans, that we're perhaps putting the student loan programs in jeopardy for future generations of students. If we don't have folks repaying their loans and keep default rates low and keep debt levels as low as possible, future generations may have a difficult time securing those loans and then having the kind of features that they would like to have.
The biggest worry about the lack of financial education in America today is it's creating a very unhealthy society that, quite frankly, is not going to be able to sustain itself for long periods of time. You look at all the foreclosures, you look at all the bankruptcies, you look at the divorce rate. It's a downward spiral. And personally, it's just not healthy for people. And I think if we can change that culture, then what we'll find is we're going to have a happier, healthier society.